Many of you know me as Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba. But today, I don't stand before you as a billionaire, an entrepreneur, or a tech mogul. I stand before you as a fellow human being who, like you, has faced countless challenges, encountered failure, and searched for purpose. I have had moments where I was lost and times where I felt I was winning. But through it all, there has been one constant that has shaped the way I live and the way I lead. Faith. Faith in God. Faith in something bigger than myself, something greater than my immediate circumstances. So today I want to share with you why putting God first in everything you do is not only the most profound choice you can make, but the most powerful. As I speak to you today, I want you to imagine life as a tall skyscraper. When you build a skyscraper, you don't start by focusing on the height or the beauty of the structure. You begin by laying a strong foundation. If the foundation is weak, no matter how beautiful the building may look, it will eventually crumble. Life works in much the same way. For many of you, success is what you are striving for, and that's wonderful. But real success starts with a foundation of faith. It begins with recognizing that there is something more significant than the material world we live in. When you put God first, you are acknowledging that you need something greater than yourself to guide you, strengthen you, and give your life true meaning. I often get asked, Jack, how did you do it? How did you go from being rejected by dozens of jobs, failing your university entrance exams twice, to building one of the most successful companies in the world? My answer is simple. Faith. I had faith that my failures were not the end of my story. I believed that God had a plan for me, even when the path seemed impossible. You see, when you put God first, you are never truly lost. No matter how many doors close in your face, when God is at the center, new opportunities will always appear. One of the biggest challenges you will face as you grow and pursue your dreams is pride. Success in all its forms can easily lead us to believe that we are in control of everything. But the moment you think you are in charge of your own destiny, that is when you start to falter. Putting God first is a reminder that we are not the center of the universe. Humility is recognizing that without God, without faith, our talents, skills, and resources are limited. True strength comes from understanding our dependence on a higher power. When I look back at my life, I see that the most significant breakthroughs happened when I humbled myself before God, admitted my weaknesses, and asked for guidance. This is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate sign of wisdom. There were times when I thought I had all the answers, but those were also the times when I experienced the most failure. It was only when I stepped back and said, God, I need you, that I saw doors open that I never knew existed. So, my friends, never be too proud to pray, never be too proud to ask for wisdom, and never be too proud to acknowledge that you need God in every aspect of your life. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in my journey is that success without purpose is empty. Many people define success by the amount of money they make, the number of followers they have, or the power they hold. But let me tell you, I have met many people with money, fame, and power who are deeply unhappy. Why? Because they have lost sight of their purpose. When you put God first, you discover that your life is not just about you. Your success is not just about what you can achieve for yourself, but how you can use your talents and blessings to make the world a better place. When you live with purpose, guided by God, your work becomes a form of service. You are not just building a career, you are building a legacy. You are contributing to something much bigger than yourself. When I started Alibaba, I didn't start it to make money. I started it because I wanted to solve a problem. I wanted to help small businesses succeed. I wanted to empower others. And I believe that was why Alibaba succeeded. Because the purpose behind the business was bigger than just profit. It was about making a difference. Ask yourself, what is your purpose? Why are you here? What gifts has God given you? And how can you use them to serve others? When you put God first, you start to see that your life has a meaning beyond the material. You begin to see that your journey is part of a divine plan, and that plan is always for good. One of the hardest things to deal with in life is fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. I know this fear all too well. I failed so many times that I lost count. I was rejected from jobs, universities, and opportunities. But through all of it, I learned something profound. Fear loses its power when you put God first. When you know that God is with you, failure is no longer something to be afraid of. It becomes part of the process. You start to see failure as a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. You start to understand that every no you receive is leading you closer to the yes that God has for you. In my early days, there were times when I wanted to give up. But each time I remembered a simple truth. God is in control. I may not know what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. And that gave me the strength to keep going. Whatever fears you are facing right now, whether it's the fear of failing in your studies, the fear of starting a new business, or the fear of not living up to expectations, I want to encourage you. Put God first. Trust that He has a plan for you, and that plan is good. Fear is natural, but faith is supernatural. When you put God first, you are choosing faith over fear. Success is not just about what you achieve, but how you achieve it. In today's world, it's easy to be tempted to cut corners, to step on others to get ahead, or to compromise your values for the sake of success. But let me tell you, real success, the kind that lasts, can only be built on a foundation of integrity. When you put God first, you are reminded that your character matters more than your achievements. It's not just about what you accomplish, but how you treat others along the way. When I was building Alibaba, I made a commitment to myself and to God that I would never compromise my values for success. I would treat my employees, my partners, and my customers with respect, honesty, and fairness. There were times when it would have been easier to take shortcuts, to lie, or manipulate the system. But I knew that if I did, I would lose something far more valuable than money. I would lose my integrity. And once you lose that, it's very hard to get it back. Young people, let me tell you, the world is watching. Your character will speak louder than your accomplishments. Put God first and let Him guide you in how you treat others. Be kind, be honest, be humble. Success built on integrity will always last longer than success built on selfish ambition. In a world that glorifies instant success and overnight fame, one of the hardest lessons to learn is patience. We live in a time where everyone wants things to happen quickly, whether it's success, wealth, or recognition. But let me tell you something important. Anything worth achieving takes time. When you put God first, you're reminded that His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match your own. There were many times in my journey where I felt like things were moving too slowly. I wanted results faster. I wanted success to come sooner. But looking back, I now realize that every delay, every setback was part of God's perfect plan. Perseverance is not just about working hard. It's about trusting the process. It's about believing that even when things don't seem to be going your way, God is still working behind the scenes. Every challenge you face is shaping you, preparing you for the next level. One of the greatest examples of perseverance I can think of is the story of Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before he successfully invented the light bulb. When asked how he felt about failing so many times, he replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This kind of perseverance is only possible when you trust that there's a bigger plan, that God is leading you even through the failures. So, my friends, don't be discouraged by setbacks. Don't lose hope when things take longer than you expect. Put God first and trust that His timing is always perfect. Keep working hard, keep learning, keep growing, and never give up. As you move forward in life, there will be times of uncertainty. Times when you don't know what the next step is. When you're unsure of where your path is leading. In those moments, it's easy to feel anxious, lost, or afraid. But when you put God first, you are reminded that even in uncertainty, there is a plan. I've faced uncertainty many times in my life, especially in the early days of Alibaba. There were moments when I didn't know if the company would survive, when I wasn't sure if we were making the right decisions. But each time I chose to trust that God was in control. I chose to believe that even when I couldn't see the whole picture, God had a plan, and that plan was good. Faith is not about knowing all the answers. It's about trusting that God does. It's about taking the next step, even when you can't see the entire staircase. So, whenever you face uncertainty, I want to encourage you. Put God first. Trust that He is guiding you even when the path is unclear. Conclusion, living a life of impact. As I close, I want to leave you with this thought. Life is not about how much you can accumulate, but how much you can contribute. When you put God first, your life becomes about more than just your own success. It becomes about how you can use your gifts, your talents, and your resources to make a positive impact in the world. I believe that each one of you has a unique purpose, a divine calling that only you can fulfill. But to discover that purpose, you must put God first. You must trust that He has a plan for your life, a plan that is greater than anything you could imagine. So my friends, as you go out into the world, as you chase your dreams and build your future, remember this: put God first. In your relationships, in your work, in your decisions, in every aspect of your life, put God first. When you do, you will find a peace that surpasses all understanding, a strength that carries you through every challenge, and a purpose that gives your life true meaning. Thank you, and may God bless you on your journey.